through the Frappe M-Pesa payments application. So what we'll explore here is the mobile payment solutions provided by Daraja API and how we've managed to integrate it into ERPNext. So this is like a short overview of what we'll be going through, why the integration matters, the application overview, simple architecture, not that technical, the supported APIs we have, some troubleshooting, and the Q&A session. So why does integration matter or why does M-Pesa matter? So currently, for most of us who have used M-Pesa, we don't transact or carry cash around anymore. You can confirm this. For many businesses, customers want the Lipa na M-Pesa pay bill, or they need some sort of M-Pesa, whether it's a pay bill, till number, send money, no more carrying cash around. So this leads to the problems of tracking mobile payments made. You have to track them through either statements or the user has to forward the M-Pesa messages confirming they've paid. So this is why the integration matters. We need businesses to track the real-time payments that the customers have made. They have to save time on entering those specific payments into the system. And we also need that beautiful customer experience or customer trust between the business and the customers. That is when I make a payment, I know you'll receive it, whether or not I forward the message to you. And we also want to embrace mobile operations. So a simple view or a simple architecture view of the Frappe M-Pesa payments application. So the application was designed as with Frappe as its framework. So Frappe is the framework we use, the one that designed ERPNext, all these other applications we normally use for businesses. So the app is built on Frappe, comes with batteries included. It's what helps us integrate with ERPNext seamlessly. We have an M-Pesa settings document or master, I might say. This is the central or entry point for everything M-Pesa. All transactions, whether it be STK Push, C2B, everything happens through this document. We utilize something called webhooks. Webhooks are basically open endpoints you've provided such that Daraja can reach your system. And background jobs are used to manage tokens. These are the authorization and authentication systems provided by Daraja API. On to next, this is what we're going through. We're going to see how to log entries or how entries are logged into your ERPNext system, how you can initiate STK push, that is trigger payment request from customers, how we handle custom payments made offline by customers, how to verify your transaction in case, let's say, the payment did not make it to your system, how to reconcile your payments and customers' outstanding invoices, and finally, how we can pay out money, the B2C payments, business to customer. So this is the M-Pesa settings document. This is what it looks like. As I've said earlier, this is the entry point to everything M-Pesa with ERPNext. So in the M-Pesa settings doc type, the top right, is it top right? At the top left, we have the API type. Just a minute. Okay, so these will define the specific integration you're using. Currently it's outdated, but we have yet to update these. On the right side, we have the pay bill type. So here is where you'll define your pay bill, whether it be the till number or the pay bill. That is business number and account number. The next section, we have two buttons, the get account balance. So in case you want to see, I don't have a screenshot for that, but you want to see the balance in your account at this point in time, you can use this button. It's It's another API we've integrated, so it will just fetch the balances of your account, populate them down here. The check transaction status, this one is just to verify, and we'll come back to these three checkboxes here. Next, the ones I've highlighted in blue and red, these are the most important parts about our integration. So we have a consumer key, consumer secret, and business shortcode and online passkey. These credentials, we usually get them from Daraja API portal. They are provided by Safaricom, and it is what we'll use to verify that the shortcode you are saying or the business shortcode you are using belongs to you, and they can act in your stead instead of you having to go and manually, what can we say, enter your PIN, all that other stuff we do in the same toolkit. We'll use these instead. At the bottom, the section highlighted in red, we have a security credential. This is mandatory for B2C payments, and the get account balance, the initiator name, and initiator password. These three are necessary for those three transactions. They are another security step provided by Safaricom so that somebody cannot impersonate you or try to act in your stead, I might say. So next we'll look at STK Push. So the M-Pesa Express integration. So most of the time you want to initiate payments. You don't want to wait for the customer to enter the pay bill, then the account number, and finally their PIN. So what do you do in this case? So you trigger the payment through your system from a sales order or a sales invoice, even the POS and web shop. Yeah, and web shop. So you trigger the payment, the customer enters their PIN, that is authorizes the payment, and once the payment is confirmed, you will receive a, is it called a notification? Not necessarily a notification, but a payment entry will be created against the specific document you are requesting the payment for. So here we'll just see a short demo of how this works. So this is the M-Pesa settings document I was talking about. Let me just go back. Sorry for that. So this is the M-Pesa settings. So these are the credentials we'll be using. There's this checkbox I was talking about, how to create sales invoice. So we use this for M-Pesa STK Push when you're making a payment request against a sales order. When you're making against a sales order and you don't want to come and then create the sales invoice manually, once the payment has been processed, you'll check this box, and then save your M-Pesa settings, and finally go to your sales order to initiate the specific payment. So here I'll just select a customer. So I have this sales order, the outstanding amount, and all that stuff. I'll create a payment request against it, populate my phone number. The mode of payment here should be the mode of payment linked to your M-Pesa settings. That is, after populating my phone number, I'll just confirm everything is okay, enter the amount I want to pay, and at the bottom I'm just confirming the payment gateway details. They match up to this mode of payment. So once I save and submit this payment request, once you do that, notification prompt will be sent to your customer. So here they'll be asked to pay, do you want to pay this amount to Navari Limited? Enter your M-Pesa PIN. Once they confirm the M-Pesa PIN and hit OK, now that is authorizing the payment. They'll receive a message confirming payment, and on your end, your payment request will be marked as paid. So if you go back to the sales order, since we had checked the auto create sales invoice checkbox in the M-Pesa settings, a sales invoice will be created against the sales order, and it will have the advance paid That is the amount we've paid. So here we paid 10 shillings. We have two payment entries against that sales order, so we have a total advance of 20 shillings. So that is basically the STK Push or M-Pesa Express integration process. You will create a transaction, that is whether POS, sales order, sales invoice, or from the web shop, and then create a payment request. The customer will enter their PIN and everything will be processed. No need to come and verify manually. On to the next integration, which is C2B, customer to business. So customer to business is like the direct opposite of M-Pesa Express. So here, the customer is the one who initiates the payment, that is. So the customer will take either your buy goods number, the till number, or the pay bill. They'll go to the M-Pesa SIM toolkit or the M-Pesa application, enter the pay bill, the account number, and the amount they are paying, and PIN, and you will receive the payment in the system. So currently we have it for sales invoices, and it's coming to POS. A short demonstration of how it works also. So for C2B, here we have this sales invoice. So this sales invoice, we are selling this pen. The outstanding amount is 10 shillings. We'll go back to our M-Pesa settings to verify the second checkbox, that is. So here we have the auto reconcile C2B payments. So what this checkbox does, once you've selected this, if the customer enters the transaction ID, that is the sales invoice number or the sales order number, once the payment is received, let me just, this is the number I'm talking about, the SCCSINV, yeah, transaction ID. So I'll just perform a payment here, and the business number, that will be the short code we had in our M-Pesa settings. The account number will match up to the sales invoice, and then the amount I'm paying, and finally my PIN. Okay. Once that is done, confirm the payment. We have the M-Pesa C2B payment register document. So this is what will record all your payments, all offline payments made by customers to your ERPNext instance will come here, or your shortcode. So currently, after I'm done with that payment, if I refresh here, the, what is it called? A new entry will appear. So this is the new entry, the payment I've made. It will contain the transaction amount, the M-Pesa ID, that is the M-Pesa transaction ID, and the bill ref number. So the bill ref number is the account number the customer has entered. So what I was talking about earlier was the auto reconcile. So this bill ref number, since it matches up to my sales invoice, if I submit this payment, save and submit, I'll reconcile the payment made against this invoice. So a prompt telling you the payment has been successful. Reload this, and the invoice will be marked as paid. I'll bring you back here. For those of you who've interacted with our earlier version of C2B, there's something we've implemented here. It's sort of a smart matching logic. So the bill ref number, or the account number the customer enters, if it matches either of these transactions, that is the sales order, quotation, or sales invoice, the customer in your system will be populated here automatically. and then you can submit and reconcile the payment. If not, you'll have to come and insert the customer manually, or you can use the M-Pesa payment reconciliation tool. I'll show you a demo of that at the end of this presentation. But yeah, once it's reconciled, the invoice is marked as paid, and it creates a payment entry against that specific invoice. And that is C2B, where the customer is the one making the payment. Now, what happens when you have a discrepancy? A customer is saying they have paid, but you can't see it in your M-Pesa payment register. So this is where we use the transaction status API provided by Safaricom Daraja also. So here you ask the customer for that is the pay bill they use. If you have multiple, you'll ask them for the pay bill they used and the transaction ID from the message that has been returned by M-Pesa. You'll use this to prompt M-Pesa, that is to verify or check if the payment has been made against your pay bill and if it's valid. So that is if the customer is saying the truth. So this is a short demo of how it works. So I'll take this first payment here, for example. This is a payment we received. I'll delete it. So here we won't have this record. Just sorry for that. So I'll delete this payment. We won't have this record in our system. So the customer might come and say, I made the payment, but we can't find it. So at the top, we have this button. It's the same button that is in the M-Pesa settings. So you can either use the one in M-Pesa settings or this one right here. So you'll select the specific shortcode the customer has given you, enter the transaction ID also given to you, and then if it's successful, another entry will be made. That is, Safaricom will send you another payment entry confirming the payment has been made against your shortcode. If it hasn't, you'll receive an error message telling you the payment is not successful, so you can sort out the argument or the discrepancy between you and the customer. So far we've covered those three, the STK push, C2B, and transaction status. Next, we are going to look at the M-Pesa payment reconciliation tool. This is what I was talking about. You've received payments into your system, but they are not allocated to any specific invoice, that is, or any specific customer. So you want to reconcile the draft payments you have against a customer's outstanding invoices. You want to do this all in one interface, no hassle and bustle, no submitting payments, then reconciling later. So a short demonstration of the tool. So this is just a minute. This is the, what is it called? Sales invoice against this customer, unpaid. It has an outstanding of 50 shillings currently. This is the transaction we are going to reconcile, I might say. So as you've noticed so far, we're doing most of the things in the M-Pesa workspace. My computer is buffering today. You have to forgive me for this. So we have most of our shortcuts here in the M-Pesa workspace. M-Pesa settings, the tools, the specific APIs, the doc types. So here we'll go to the M-Pesa payment reconciliation tool. You'll select the customer you want to reconcile against, or you want to reconcile the transactions against. get all the unreconciled entries. So what this will do, it will fetch the customer's outstanding invoices and the draft M-Pesa payments you have in the M-Pesa payment register, the ones that are not allocated to any specific customer. You can remove the ones you don't want to reconcile, like this one for Joseph Mania, and then allocate the rest. So once you allocate, you will receive a successfully reconciled message. Then you can go back to your specific invoice, the one you are reconciling against. So the customer. So currently it's marked as this was the initial status. It was unpaid. It had an outstanding of 50 shillings. Unpaid with an outstanding of 50 shillings. Then we did the reconciliation using the M-Pesa payment reconciliation tool. So once I reload, it will have a partly paid. The outstanding will be 9 shillings. We did a reconciliation of 41 shillings. And basically that is how the M-Pesa payment reconciliation tool works. So you get all the outstanding for a specific customer. Then you fetch the draft M-Pesa payments you have and reconcile. So what we've covered so far is receiving payments into your system up to now. So that is receiving payments. Next, we're going to look at now you want to pay out money. You are the one sending money to people through your short code, your disbursement account. That is, Safaricom offer a disbursement account. So in case you want to pay out salaries, send payments to employee vendors, that is outstanding purchase invoices you've not yet paid, purchase order, you want to give out loans. All this happens in the M-Pesa business to customer integration. It's ideal for running payrolls, handling payments, and loans. A short demo of how it works, and then we'll discuss more on this. So this is the M-Pesa workspace. We have this M-Pesa payment disbursement, B2C payment disbursement shortcut. The entry point or the gateway to disbursing money. So here we'll come back to the M-Pesa settings. We'll select the API type, that is M-Pesa business to customer. All the other stuff is the same, but the security credential, initiator name, and password are mandatory for these. So in case you don't have these, B2C won't work. We get these initiator name and password, we get these from the business organization portal. The security credential is just an encrypted version of your initiator password, I might say. So this is the last checkbox we were talking about, the submit B2C accounting entries. Once you've made a B2C disbursement, you've disbursed money. Let's say you are running payroll. Once you've disbursed money to your employees, mostly we create a bank entry. So once the bank entry is created, you have an option to select whether you want it to be submitted or you leave it in draft, and then you can come back, review the entry is correct, and then submit. So if you check this, the bank entry will be submitted by default. It will create individual entries against each successful disbursement, I might say. That is this setting, the submit B2C. So it will submit either the journals, payment entries, or the loan disbursement if you're disbursing a loan. So this is the entryway. We come to this document or this master, the B2C payment disbursement. We select a payment type. So currently we only have M-Pesa disbursement, but more on the way. Then the mode of payment you want to pay against. So this will be the mode of payment linked to a specific M-Pesa setting you want. Next, you'll select the party type of who you are paying. So it can either be employee or supplier. So for supplier, we have the purchase order or purchase invoices. And for employee, we have the salary slips. That is, yeah, the salary slips, the employee advance, expense claim, or loans. The format is mostly what payment entry looks like. Yeah, so it might be familiar. So here, sorry for that. Okay. So here you'll set a paid amount. This can be the amount in your account at that time. Then set the filters. Who do you want to pay, or which transaction do you want to pay against? Get the outstanding references. So these will only fetch the ones that are unpaid, the outstanding amount, and it will populate the allocated amount based on the paid amount you have added here. You'll save this and then submit it. Once you submit, it's like authorizing or initiating the B2C payment. So the status will change to initiated. We'll create the M-Pesa B2C request. This is telling M-Pesa or telling Safaricom we are making this payment. And if the entry is successful, for employee advances, a payment entry is usually created against it to mark the advance as paid. So since our setting was true, the submit B2C entries, this payment entry was created and submitted. So this is the referenced employee advance. This is the paid amount we've made. And the outstanding should be around 50,000. Yeah, so that is it for the B2C. So once the payment has been made, as you've noticed, the status is still initiated. So a background job usually updates this, so you might leave it as initiated. Or if you want to check the status manually, you can come here at the top where there's this actions button and check for the status. So status will change to paid since this payment has been successful. And you can confirm the transaction ID, that is the M-Pesa transaction ID, the unique one they send, and when the transaction was. This is basically the reference date. It's the one will populate on the payment entry too. Yeah, that's basically it for B2C disbursement. And yeah. So next we'll just go through some common problems or some common issues we faced so far and customers have faced so far, and some of the basic solutions. So this error message, invalid access token, is usually brought about by incorrect credentials from the Daraja API portal. So in case you get this error message, just confirm the credentials entered in M-Pesa settings match up to the ones in your Daraja portal. There are no callbacks from C2B, that is customers have made payments but you're not receiving any. You can confirm that the URLs you've registered. We have an M-Pesa payment register URL. You can confirm the registration has been successful and that the URLs you're registering are not registered to another website. I'm sorry I did not include that in the presentation. For B2C, mostly we check what I was talking about, the security credential, the initiator name, and the initiator password. So here you usually get an initiator information is invalid error and some reconciliation mismatches. If you want to use the C2B auto reconcile, just confirm that the payments customers are making, they insert the account number, either as the invoice or the other transactions, the sales order quotation or the customer name in the system. Yeah, I believe we've covered everything. I'll welcome questions now. If I've rushed, now is your chance to ask me to explain something further or in detail. Hello, I'm still audible, right? Okay. Okay, I can see we don't have any questions. Okay, using the sandbox, you need to click. Yeah, in case you don't have live credentials in your in the M-Pesa settings, you'll have to take the use sandbox option. So these will use the different. We have different APIs or different. You what can I call it? Here, when making requests to Daraja, we have different URLs we usually call. One for sandbox and one for live credentials. So in case you're using sandbox, you're testing, just tick this and add the other information as the ones we get from Daraja. I hope that has answered your question. Validate STK Push eligibility error. Could you provide more information on that? In the implementation service encountered any security vulnerabilities? Okay, for security concerns, this is how I will address it. During my demo, you've seen I've blurred out the consumer key. The consumer secret is a password, online passkey, security credentials. So this is the ones you get from Daraja. They are used to act in your stead. It's like a representation of you. So in case you give out this information to someone, yes, you will be. Can I call it a threat? You can call it a threat. You'll be in a dangerous position. So if you don't give out this information, you're good to go. We encrypt the passwords given, or Frappe provides the encryption process. So once they're in the system, no, there's no security vulnerability. I'm getting security credential generation error. Okay, so for these, James, I believe, how are you generating the credential? You can just unmute and ask the question. The process you're using to generate the security credential. Or you can reach out via email. I'll see your process, what you're doing, and then I figure out what is wrong. For the validate STK push eligibility, you don't get the message exactly. You can just clarify this. Yes, this also works with till numbers. It's an integration of both the pay bill and till numbers. But for till numbers, the C2B, since there's no account number, you'll have to manually reconcile those. When confirming a payment, bad request, invalid party A. Okay, these are more technical questions for James and Anonymous. Reach out after the session. We'll look into this further. And these are more of technical issues. Any? Okay. If there's no more questions, or if there are any more questions, you can reach out to solutions at Navari. I'll just display it here. You can reach out to solutions at Navari for a more detailed README, or for a more detailed process about the integration. We have the documentation outlined. This is the link. For M-Pesa payments is the application. The link is https GitHub Navari Limited, and then the M-Pesa payments. This is the documentation for the application or the integration. We have more solutions in our repository, that is Navari. You can explore more here. And yeah, reach out, collaborate, and help us make this integration better. So that is it from my end. I'll give it back to Anne to finalize on it. Okay, thank you everyone for joining and taking your time. See you next time. Have a blessed day.